where do you draw the line between automation, knowing when to automate something versus process improvement? Where do I need to optimize something that my business is doing?
Yeah, that question comes up daily, sometimes hourly. I immediately go back to the four questions I ask myself. So the first thing I do is I determine what pieces of a procedure are automatable, because a lot of times it sounds great. You want to automate this process. It's a big pain in the neck. But once you actually dive into the process, you realize that there's pieces, there's steps that there's no way that you're going to be able to automate, or that it makes sense to automate. I think that you probably could automate everything, but it's really usually not the best use of time or resources. So that's my first step. Then I go into, how much time would be saved by automating each piece. And usually you try to tackle the biggest one first, unless it's something that you can't accomplish before you get further down the road. The next part is, with anything customer facing, it's always, will it impact the customer experience? Will it impact them positively? Will it impact them negatively? Will there be no effect? If it's positive, that usually increases its importance. If it's negative, obviously you don't want to proceed unless you have a really, really good reason. And then the last question that I always ask myself, and it's always in the back of my head, is, are there costs involved in doing this automation, more so than just the time that I'm going to spend on the project? Do we need a third-party provider? Do we need our developer team on this? Because obviously that's pulling them away from other projects that they're working on. And then obviously the last question is, do we have available funds? And that's usually when I have to bring in the executive team. But at that point, there's usually a pretty strong recommendation in terms of what we're going to do.